Hi, lovebirds. In this pick a card reading, we're going to be looking into the question, what is this person's intentions towards you and what can you expect to happen next in this connection? There are three groups to choose from. Group one is the orange calcite. Group two is the pink calcite. And group three is the green calcite. Up next is a close-up photo of these crystals. There are timestamps below, and I'll see you in just a minute for the reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the orange calcite. So let's start by taking a look at what are the person on your mind's intentions towards you at this time. Okay, so start with, we've got the Three of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. So I'm drawn on this Three of Cups to this figure right here who's kind of peeking over the cup. And so it feels like something where this person is kind of scared to make a deeper commitment towards you, but they also don't want that fear to be something which completely thwarts future potentials between the two of you. So this is someone who has the intention to kind of dip their toe in the water of what can be kind of an emotional progress beyond your current dynamic. If this is like a friendship, for example, this is somebody that wants to kind of like slowly explore the boundaries beyond that of kind of like romance. If this is somebody you're already in like a talking stage with, there's the sense of like, I like you, I like what I'm feeling, but I'm scared to kind of rush in this situation. So it's somebody that it's almost the intention of not making promises that they can't deliver upon. This is somebody, it feels like, with this Queen of Swords that is operating in the energy of integrity. They're not wanting to lead you on. They're not wanting to over promise and under deliver. There's a sense that they may have some other things going on in their life right now, like in their personal life or their professional life, that you could not be aware of, where they almost feel that right now is not the time to start to kind of create a strong long-term relationship. There may be something that is like potentially on the horizon that could involve them having to move, having to relocate. They could be stretched very thin at this particular point in time, in terms of different sort of commitments that they have to different people in their life, things going on with like family members and friends, where there's a sense of like they like where you're at with one another at this point, but they've got a lot on their plate right now. And so it's the intention of not sort of like leading you on to think that they're going to make some sort of big romantic gesture in the very near future. But with that Ten of Pentacles energy, there's a sense of like, if you can be patient, if I can kind of just take this at my pace, then this is somebody, it feels like that there's the intention of like, hey, if we can see it through this period of time where I don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing with you these other kind of things that I have going on, or maybe it's just like not right, not appropriate to do so because it's like a friend or it's somebody you just recently connected with, and that would be like getting way too personal. It'd be like oversharing. There's a sense of sort of like almost an intention to kind of test the connection. Like, are you somebody that is able to kind of respond to what it is they're able to give forth to you in this moment without putting pressure on them to figure things out or to become more clear or to move forward at a rapid pace. And if you are someone that can kind of respect this sort of unspoken boundary that they have in place, then there's a sense of like, it's the intention of we'll see where things go when I finish up kind of wrapping up this cycle. With this 10 of Pentacles, and I'm drawn to like both of these figures have their back turned to the viewer, but then there's this other figure, you know, that's kind of, again, sort of like peeking back at the viewer. And so there's a sense of they may be very near the end of wrapping up a cycle, or it's something where they're kind of like rearranging things in their life, or, you know, again, like closing something out that's very sort of near that place of they may have more time, they may have more certainty, they may have more stability in their life, or something where they're having to show up for another person, you know, that they love or that's important to them at this particular point in time. When that kind of reaches a place where I don't have that worry spent in that direction, I don't have that time and consideration spent in that direction, I've got more free time, I've got more ability for movement, or you know, to kind of move around my schedule. There's a sense of like, then there's this intention of, okay, we can see where it goes then we can start to explore what next. But like the intention at this particular point in time is to kind of just keep it light, keep it casual. This is not someone who intends on kind of like having those conversations about the future between the two of you, because it feels like they just don't have the bandwidth at this particular point in time to really sort of settle into anything. There may be something where there's like abrupt changes that are possible. Or again, they're having to like show up for somebody else in a way that's like, my present reality is sort of tied to another person's reality. And this doesn't feel like third party situation, like another connection. This could be like a family member, or if they have kids like from a previous relationship, there could be something as far as like the kids are concerned where it's like a lot of that energy is sort of directed in that direction. And so there's a sense of like, until that gets resolved, or until we see something through with that, or a little more comfortable with like a routine that's having to be established, or something going on in like that sector of their life, it's almost like the intention to kind of like keep the door open between the two of you as far as communication. But it's almost sort of like at this point in time, they're not wanting to kind of lead you on or let you to believe that things are going to be like rapidly progressing right now. So let's get a little bit more about this and see what else wants to come through as far as their intentions towards you. Okay, so we've got sea turtle and Luna moth. Yeah, so this sea turtle energy, this is like slow and steady as far as those emotions are concerned. This is someone that just wants to keep the conversation casual. They want to keep the encounters and the interactions very casual. They're not ready to dive into deep waters. And this sea turtle card, when it came out, it sort of tapped on this Queen of Swords. So that speaks about like communication. And there's a sense of like, I don't want to lead you on. I don't want to make you think like I'm prepared for a deep dive with you, or that I'm at a stage of my present reality of being able to invest, it feels like, with anything long term. They may not be able to make long term plans because there's a lot up in the air. That idea of Luna moth, and it's kind of this sort of like a hidden energy. It's like there's other things, other forces which are kind of calling them towards it, that they can't share with you. They don't feel comfortable sharing. They don't know you that well, so it wouldn't be appropriate. It could be a very private person, or whatever the nature of this is that's going on. They're like maybe even trying to respect other people's privacy, of just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go there. That's not something that is relevant to the nature of your dynamic at this particular point in time. So it's like things pulling them in another direction that don't speak to sort of like other options, or like juggling multiple people, or unsure how they feel about you. It's almost the sense of like, I like how I feel at this moment in time, but it's like the intention of, once I see some sort of cycle through to a place of completion, or this other thing in my life that I have going on is like resolved, or, you know, I kind of adjust to that as part of my new normal, then I'm able to sort of, you know, that moth to a flame can be directed more towards, okay, what more can develop between the two of us? So let's take a look and see what you can expect to happen next within this connection, or sort of like what's the future potential here. Okay, so we've got reflection, boat, and strength. So there's a sense that this person may leave you hanging. This may be something where it's kind of like they're carrying a heavy burden at this point in time. They got a lot on their mind, that it feels like they're trying to sort of like keep hidden from you, not because, again, this doesn't involve somebody that's like, messing around with anyone else, or they're in like talking stages with anyone else, but this may be something that's more of like a longer term kind of an energy right now, where they just might not be prepared for anything more than like a casual connection. And it's bringing to mind the idea, like, if you can go with the flow of that, if you can kind of like still your expectations of like, okay, some sort of cycle's going to wrap up, and then we're gonna be able to sort of invest with one another even more. There's almost a sense of whatever may happen with this, it could be something that is kind of like a heavier energy, or something that doesn't really go as this person had planned. It could involve, this person might even sort of have to like pick up and relocate, or there may be something else that sort of happens, like a domino effect almost, because we got this moon up here in the background with kind of this smoke over it. So the idea of like smoke and mirrors as well, with that reflection, something where it feels like what you can expect next is that there's like a segment of this person's life that in some sort of way will still be a point of consideration. It may be something that is kind of like a reoccurring theme or a reoccurring difficulty for them, where they've like taken this stance at this point in time, which it feels like with that Three of Cups, it may be very justified, because this could be a newer connection, or it could be like just a friendship that you're sort of like teasing around the idea of like, okay, there's chemistry potential, is something more going to happen? And it's a sense of like, whatever this is, it may be so much part of their personal life, their family life, other, like a family member having struggles, that it's kind of like, I don't feel comfortable opening up and talking to you about it, because I've got feelings, I got romance, almost somebody that doesn't want to like bring the vibe down. They don't want to bring these bad vibes into the situation with you. And so it feels like something that it may be sort of like wise for you to kind of look at this situation as something where you're not getting like your hopes up. You're not somebody that's like, okay, this is a cycle that's going to wrap up, and then they're going to be ready to, sort of like talk about our future, and it's going to like progress to the next level. It's something that if you can just chill, if you can just kind of just like ride along the current with this, sort of enjoy what this person's able to present, how they're able to show up, and if it's, especially if it's just like a friendship, enjoy the friendship until they're at a place maybe a little bit further down the road where circumstances change, or things work out. Or it might even be that this connection is something that could fall into that category of like a failure to launch. It may be that this person is like right at the midst of a big life change that needs to happen, and so it's not exactly like rejection is divine protection, but it may be something that's like their life is getting ready to go through an upheaval. And so even if things had progressed forward with you emotionally, things are getting ready to change for them, or something's getting ready to have to be redefined for them that would have impacted negatively wherever you would have been at. Like whatever forward movement would have happened, it's like it wouldn't have been stable enough, or it wouldn't have been like long enough for you to kind of go along for the ride of that in terms of like a new relationship. This can definitely involve something as far as like this person may end up having to like relocate somewhere, like move to another country, move across the country, something where it's like, okay, we had this ability to like start a talking stage, or we were getting together, but now they're picking up and they're thousands of miles away, and it's not something where like a long distance connection is desired, or that it's sustainable. So it feels like this may be something where you can kind of expect that this person is almost, they're looking at it as like, I don't want to promise you something I can't deliver on, but they're looking at it as almost anticipating that certainly there'll be an end to whatever this thing is that's kind of like pulling their attentions in other directions. But it looks like it may be something that won't happen as soon as they would like it to happen, which if you can be open to sort of just in the zone with them, maybe keep your options open for other people that you could meet, other people that that don't have this kind of obstacle or challenge, or something where you sort of de-escalate off of an urge to kind of like, okay, things are, we got this connection, things seem really good, now it's going to evolve to the next level. If you're able to kind of just take a step back from that and recognize the tides may be turning for this person in a way that like, okay, one challenge ends, something else begins, that can help you to kind of like go the distance with this, something where it might just not be the right time between the two of you. Yeah, the chemistry's there. Yeah, the connection's there. Yeah, it all seems good on paper, but then these other sort of factors that it feels like don't even have to do with fears. These are like, with that 10 of Pentacles, this is something that's like legitimately within this person's life that in some sort of way makes them feel like, I can't commit to anything new at this point. I can't involve myself in anything that will be deep. I can't invest in anything that's going to require like a lot of my time, a lot of my resources, a lot of my attention, because I don't know, I'm pulled in 100 different directions, and I don't know what's going to be priority. I don't know what's going to be precedence. So it may be something where they're good for like casual encounters. They're good for just surface level. They're good for something that's like, maybe at a further point in both your timelines, the time becomes right, or it's just a circumstance of like, okay, sometimes, we have those connections. We have those moments of chemistry with other people, but it's just not meant to be in a material sense. Like it feels that sort of fits into this energy right here. So let's get some messages from this person's higher self and see what they want you to know. Okay, and they say, so many songs remind me of you. So they do enjoy the, connection that you have. There's a lot of harmony between the two of you. They enjoy you as a person. They think you're very sweet. It's very fun to be around you, or pleasing to be around you. And the idea of like, oh, if things could align for the two of us, this could be sweet music that we would make with one another. Like they do think that. There is a sense of, you have pulled on this person's heartstrings. So they're not just sort of like all they can kind of offer, it feels like at this point, is casual, or something where there's like no strings attached, or they're not ready to like talk about labels or like long-term future plans, but you definitely have had an emotional effect upon them. They also say, I run hot and cold because I'm scared of being hurt. So this is something that kind of ties into whatever else they have going on in some other area of their life. It's the idea of like, what if we were to fall for one another and then I had to be pulled away from you? What if I got relocated, or I'm hearing stationed? So this could be somebody like, if this is somebody in the military, they might be like, hey, I could be stationed somewhere else. I could be moved somewhere else. And I don't know when that's going to happen or what that's going to look like. And it's too early to ask you to kind of like wait for me, or it's not like the right time to be like, oh, come be with me, or, progress forward in that sense. So there's almost a sense that they're kind of like protecting their own heart as well. Like not wanting to catch feelings, not wanting to sort of get in too deep with you, because so many other things are like up in the air with them. They also say, I'm working on myself and facing my demons. Yeah, so again, that idea of work, things that are very kind of like painful or troubling for them, that idea of kind of like facing their demons. There may be a lot of fears that are surfacing right now with that moon showing up twice, or references to the moon, with this boat card, and then also with the Luna moth. There may be something going on with like a loved one, or something going on with them professionally, that it's kind of like, okay, if this doesn't work out well or work out to my advantage, that's like the worst fear come to life. And so it feels like a lot of that is, this isn't somebody that's necessarily an emotionally distant person, but they just don't feel that it's kind of like right or appropriate, or they're not comfortable with sort of sharing with you the stressors that they have, what's hanging over their head, what's on their mind, kind of like what they're fearful of, what they worry about. And so it's like the most that they can do is kind of just have a whole aspect of themselves that is sort of detached from you, cloaked from you, something where they're not able to kind of give a whole lot at this time. And it's like, I'm somebody who's kind of praying that things work out for the best, that they work out for the better. But at this point, it's like they feel very powerless to kind of change or bring to a place of completion whatever they have going on right now. And therefore they don't feel empowered, it feels like, to make any promises of like long-term progress between the two of you, beyond just, let's keep it casual, let's keep it light, let's, keep it friendly, let's keep it platonic, that kind of an energy. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or they can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got O, A, L, V I A U B F D G S P N R G and L. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new reading. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another video. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the pink calcite. So let's see, what are the intentions of the person on your mind towards you at this time? Okay, we've got the Queen of Cups, Four of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands. So it feels like their intentions are to start to make it more clear to you that they feel very aligned with you. They feel very good in your presence. They feel like there's a lot of stability so far between the two of you, and that there's like a confidence in starting to progress forward towards more exclusivity with one another. The idea of starting to kind of move in that direction of those long-term or conversations about the future. It's a sense of the intention of letting you know that they don't just sort of see you as somebody that is like everybody else. This is somebody, it feels like, that is very possessive over the idea of the future between the two of you. But this is somebody who intends to also honor your individuality, your freedom, your goals, and your dreams. But I'm hearing mine. And so this is somebody that, like, they want to claim you. They want to explore more within this connection. This is somebody that doesn't want to let this situation go. This is somebody that doesn't want to, like, miss out on an opportunity with you. But there's a sense of almost feeling like they want to flex their muscles almost and show you that they can be like a good partner, a good leader, by trying to almost like control sort of the narrative here, control the nature of the conversations, not in a way that they're like restricting themselves or holding themselves back, but almost kind of like, let me demonstrate and show you that I'm someone who would make sense for you as like a solid partner. This may be somebody who kind of steps up to the plate to help you with certain things. Even as far as like gift giving is concerned, it may be something that demonstrates like, hey, I've been paying attention. I recognize your interests, or, the things that matter. I'm not just coming forth in this generic kind of energy, but something that really celebrates you very uniquely as an individual. It's also, this Four of Wands energy can speak about an intention to bring you closer into their world and into their reality. So like, having you meet their friends, or, spending more time with their friend group, or different sorts of activities than you've done so far. If you've met this person's friends, if you haven't met their family yet, this can be somebody, it's the intention to like bring you home for dinner, bring you home to meet mom and dad. Or if that has already happened, there may be sort of like an event, a gathering, something that happens regularly, like, a particular day they get together with their family, on a weekly basis, or whatever that looks like, that, or this, and interesting, I'm hearing FaceTime, so it might even be like a FaceTime call if they live at a distance from their family, where they're like inviting you to be a part of that, to participate with that. If you've already kind of met their parents in that way, it can be a sense of like, hey, why don't you sit in on this call? Not just like sit in the same room, but sit here, chat with us, talk with us, join us, come over for that more kind of like casual setting, something that lets you kind of know, hey, I have this intention of like keeping you around, or in some sort of way letting you know that this is not just kind of a temporary situation between the two of us, something that is almost kind of a subtle sort of gesture of their intention for long-term planning. It feels like the intention is to make that known to you. The intention is to make it clear to you, we may be at a particular stage with one another, but I do see a future here. I like you. I like who I am in your presence. I find our experiences with one another very pleasing, and so I want to like progress those forward. Let's get a little bit more as far as their intentions towards you at this time. Okay, just a minute. Let me get something to cover this card because of the imagery on it. Okay, so we've got the path and the shadow. So interestingly, with this idea of like even the fact that I had to like cover the artwork here on this shadow card, that is speaking to the idea of something being hidden, something being kind of like secretive, or them not necessarily really telling other people or telling you how they feel about you or what the intentions are. But then it compares to this idea of like the path, like they're drawing a line in the sand where it's like, okay, this is what I've given so far. My intention is to cross that line. My intention is to, no longer succumb to the energies of we're still getting to know one another. So maybe I only mention to people close to me, that I'm seeing someone or that I've met someone. This may even be where it's the intention of letting people around them know if they've not spoken of you yet. Hey, I met someone. Hey, I'm talking to somebody. That may be something that comes up at those like family dinners or at those interactions as kind of a prelude to bringing you more into their life, more into their reality. Like, hey, I'd like you to meet this person that I've been talking to, or this person that I've mentioned. It's something where it's an intention of making it clear for you, like this might be where we're at in terms of our dynamic with one another, but I see a road forward. I want to pave that road with you. I want to walk that road with you. I want to take your hand, and I want us to travel beyond what has been our experience with one another up to this point in time. Feels like this person also has the intention of expressing to you certain fears. It may even just be things that they kind of allude to. They might not be able to sit down and be like, these are the things that I'm afraid of, or, I'd like to progress things forward, but I don't want this or that to happen. But it's something where it's almost like kind of hinting at that, letting you know about certain things so that it's kind of like, I want to take a step forward, but I've got these hesitations, or, something in the way in which they kind of speak about things. It may be where there's not necessarily like open conversation, but just like an invitation or a gesture. If they want to invite you like home to meet their parents or to something like that, they may even, it's like the intention of being very quiet at that experience, to observe the intentional, like, well, how do you blend in with my pack? How do you blend in with my crew? How do you blend in with my people? Like, is this something, are you a good fit? Not just do I like you and are we a good fit? How do you fit into this kind of like bigger equation of my life, things that are important to my life? So that's something that it's almost like they wouldn't tell you that, like, oh, I'm gonna see how you do in this very impromptu situation. I'm gonna see how you do when I bring you home, and maybe there's like a difficult family member, or maybe you're somebody that is nervous meeting new people, or it's just unknown. Kind of like they like you, they find you very charming, they find you very pleasing, but how does that equate with kind of like other people, other personalities in their life? So there's a sense of almost the intention of seeing how that goes, to step outside of the comfort zone that you've established with one another at this point, to start to explore, like, is there a pathway forward beyond this for us? So let's take a look at what you can expect next in this connection from this person, or just like in general. Okay, so we have emptiness, authentic expression, and connection. So this emptiness energy is speaking to a degree of passivity that kind of ties into the idea of observing. If I give an inch in this situation, are you going to take a mile? If I bring you home to meet my family, what's their response going to be? It feels like this is somebody that wants to make sure, with both of these kind of sigils here, it's kind of bringing to mind on these cards, it's bringing to mind the idea of like math, like mathematic equations. There's almost kind of like the numbers add up as far as I'm concerned, that it feels good, it feels right. It feels like things are aligned between the two of us. But if another set of eyes comes on this, what is the feedback that family and friends are going to give me? There's a sense of almost like, I want to see how you are around these people, and then I want to talk to them when you're not around. So what'd you think of them? So what do you think if about, like, I'm thinking that this is getting serious. I'm thinking I might have met the one. I'm thinking I want to explore things further. It's not like this person can't decide for themselves, but there's almost something that in order to kind of give themselves permission to receive the next phase of this, or what you have to kind of like offer in a long-term sense, there's this energy of almost somebody that may be like very self-protective, like it's authentic, it's where they are. It's kind of like, I like you, I like this, but my heart has led me astray in the past, I've been wrong in the past. And rather than kind of like telling you all that and having you sort of have this pressure on you to kind of outperform their wounds, it's almost the sense of sort of like, okay, I know there are people in my corner who will give me good advice, who will let me know if they feel in their opinion that someone is good for me or something is good for me. Because there might have been people in their life that kind of warned them about a previous partner and they didn't listen, and it ended up in heartbreak, or people that they know have their best interests in mind, or people who, or individuals, or like a particular individual, like, if this person doesn't give it the green light, I can't go forward. Like, their opinion really matters, or I want to make sure that they're kind of like happy with the life I'm creating for myself. You can think what you want about that sort of level of influence that another person has upon them, but it is what it is as far as where this person's at this particular moment in time, and that may be something that is in place for a good reason, that they've sort of just like followed their own heart, they kind of march to the beat of their own drum, and it has led to things that maybe in the past caused more damage than happiness. And so there's a sense of now at this phase of where they are in their reality, or like who they are as a person. It's sort of like, before I get really serious about someone, I got to make sure that, they kind of pass the test of mom gives it the seal of approval, or grandma is on board with it, or, like my friends are saying, yeah, this is good, go for it, that kind of a thing. And so it feels like this is something that the next phase is sort of like having other people kind of evaluate this, seeing like, does this beautiful energy between the two of us, where I want to continue to celebrate you, I see things in a long-term sense between the two of us, and I'd like to make that a reality. Is that something that translates into, you are a good fit for like more of my personal life, or my world in general, or the people who are non-negotiable parts of my life, like long-term friends or family? Like, do you fit in with the equation of these individuals as well? And so it's almost a sense, again, of them being kind of like quiet, not making a whole lot of like outward promises for the future, but there's a sense of like crucial meetings, key interactions, something where you have maybe more personal or one-on-one sort of dynamics with other people. You're not just mentioned, it's not just like a hello and a handshake and a very quick encounter, but something where it's like you're spending time with these people. So there may even be something where there's more occurrences where they're like bringing you around to something regularly, or you have more frequency of contact with these other people, and then they're getting that feedback. So what do you think? Take some time, get to know this person. What do you think? Do you think this is good? I feel that it's right to move forward. What do you think? Am I seeing the situation correctly? And so that's kind of like something behind the scenes that it feels like takes place, that will then determine, based on the nature of those interactions, or what these other people say, for better or worse, kind of if this person allows themselves to continue to open up to you in this situation, or if it's something where, maybe they have to like take a step back, or conclude the circumstance. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know. Okay, and we have, you bring out the best in me because you see the best in me. So this person, they really do like you. They're very hopeful. It feels like they're also a bit nervous that like, are you gonna pass the litmus test of, they bring you home to meet their family, or you get around their friend group maybe a lot more, or how that equates in with like their friends and their significant others. Maybe there's some kind of like big event that they want to invite you to, something that's very like inner circle only, and they're sort of like, okay, I really hope that this is something I get some positive feedback from. I hope that I feel good about it. Like, this isn't just somebody that is totally relying on the opinions of other people, but it feels like it's something that they don't want to end up in another position of people important to them saying, I told you so, or, I warned you that it didn't seem like the right match for you, and then it fell apart. Like, they don't want to hear that. They might have already heard that, or had like a negative experience by not listening to what other people had sort of been able to read about a previous partner, a previous circumstance, that like this person was just, no, I like him, I love him, I'm into this, I'm gonna move forward. And it was like other people or someone else's intuition could have saved them a lot of stress and heartbreak. So it's like, this person doesn't want to go down that road again. And so you have now reached this place, like the line in the sand has been drawn. I want to progress forward with you, but I've had to pick up the pieces of my broken heart before, and the only way I know to kind of like navigate that or move forward from that is by getting kind of the okay, getting the green light from these other people that are like a long-term part of my life, are a permanent part of my life, have always been a part of my life. I want to make sure that they are loving and accepting of you in the same way that I am loving and accepting of you. Yeah, and we also have, you are so kind, sweet, and accepting. So there may even be like, especially if this has to do with like bringing you home to meet family, it might not just be like, oh, let's make sure the family approves. They may come from a very like dysfunctional family. It may be very chaotic. It may be like their upbringing or their home life, or like where they come from is very different from how the life they've chosen to build for themselves. There may be like a family member or a family dynamic that's kind of embarrassing to them, or somebody that might even be just like impossible to please. And it's a sense of like, they're my family. If you're cool with that, if you're accepting of that, if you're not going to judge that, or you can kind of just like hold your own, even because for some it might even be that you're having to hold your own amongst kind of like very intense individuals, something that could have been like a problem in previous relationships, that there's a sense of almost like, you need to be able to kind of fit into that. Even if this person doesn't have a whole lot of contact with that, with their family, there's almost a sense of sort of like, I need to make sure that you're a good fit in that dynamic. Maybe it already makes them uncomfortable, and it's like, the last thing I need then is my partner to be uncomfortable or, stressed out, because these people already stress me out. It's that kind of an energy. So there's something that's like, this is a big step forward in terms of if you can fit in with kind of the bigger scheme of their life, certain things that are like non-negotiable. This may even be something, if this person has kids from a previous relationship, they may even be like, you need to meet my kids. Like, it's time to meet my kids. And if my kids don't approve, then the relationship doesn't progress forward. This can be that kind of an energy where it's sort of like, it is what it is. That's non-negotiable. And so there's, again, this like nervousness about like, gosh, I hope my kids really approve of you. I think you're great, but if they don't approve, then there's nothing I can do about it. And we also have, I'm finding a way to be comfortable in my own skin. So they are definitely feeling uncomfortable about sort of like what this next test is between the two of you. They're really hoping that whatever this is, where they kind of bring you in closer to their world, they're hoping everything goes right, or even if it's like weird or uncomfortable, that there's a, because this isn't somebody that's just, okay, there was one awkward dinner and then that, if it didn't go well, that's the end of story. They may have people that are just kind of like, nobody's good enough, or they disapprove of everyone, and it's sort of like, I want to give them an opportunity to warm up to you, to see in you what I see in you. And so there's a sense that they can't tell you about all of that. They kind of have to keep that hidden, because for you to know, like, hey, I'm bringing you in front of these people and they're going to judge you, but don't feel bad. It's just kind of like, it's part of the game of like my life. They judge me as well. Like that kind of an energy. This is something that is almost like they're wanting you to know that it's just a crucial next step, that they don't bring everybody in like this. They don't kind of have this sort of take place with everybody, but they see something in you. They feel something between the two of you that's worth the while of at least sort of exploring that. Like, okay, things are great when it's just the two of us. What is that like when it's, kind of part of the bigger nature of what I have going on in my life? And the idea of even having to do that, or thinking about that, or this being kind of the approach to this like sector of their life, or, this next kind of step forward, that's something that they're not looking at that from an ego-based place. It feels like it's embarrassing to them. It's uncomfortable to them. That's why it feels like it's not something they're going to like have that. They may give you the rundown on certain people, like, hey, this is the nature, what you're about to walk into, just so you know. But it's like even having to give that disclaimer or sit in this energy of just observation. There may even be like, the version of them that is different from the version of them that comes out in front of these people. And so there's also an energy of sort of like, are you going to accept that? Not that I'm like an artificial person, but just I'm one way with them and I'm one way with you. And I hope that we're able to sort of find a compromise where you can love all of me. So let's get some initials. This could be a first, middle, or last name, or could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got X, R, T, G, L, A, Q, J, S, O, Y, F, R, H, W, T, D, and U. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the green calcite. So let's see, what are the intentions of the person on your mind towards you at this time? Okay, we've got the Knight of Pentacles, Two of Cups, and the Four of Swords. So it feels like this person's intention is to show you consistency that can help put to rest any fears that you have about their interest in you. This is somebody that it feels like really likes you. They really like the experiences that you've had with one another. They may sense that you're somebody that has trust issues. And so there's this energy of like, let me gently lead us both forward beyond all of that. They don't want to put you on the spot or make you feel uncomfortable in any sort of way. But this is something where they've like they've observed how you've shown up in this connection. And there's a sense of almost like, I think that you have a need that I can fulfill. I think that you have kind of an aspect of yourself where you've never really been acknowledged or loved properly, and I think that I'm the person who can do a really good job of kind of like erasing that narrative for you. This is somebody that wants to put your fears at rest. This is somebody, it feels like, that the intention is not to come off as like they're trying to manipulate you. They're not wanting to come off as, really sort of like macho, or that they're trying to like show off or anything for you, or, something that may just be like very big and grand declarations or promises of like love and affection and loyalty. But there's a sense of like, the intention is to just keep showing up for you, and to really let you be the one who sort of like determines where things progress forward. It feels like this is somebody who the intention is to kind of hold back as far as maybe physical intimacy is concerned. If you haven't been physically intimate yet, they don't want to like rush forward into that. They don't want to push you beyond your comfort zone, and they don't want to make you think that's all that they're after. So it feels like this is somebody that is going to be very much like, okay, where to next? They're allowing you to be in that boss sort of energy at this particular moment in time, because they may, and this almost might be somebody that it feels like either knows through maybe things that you've been through, have anticipated things that you've been through, has, other people in their life that are important to them that have been through like some pretty terrible things as far as romance is concerned, that it is kind of affected how this person has become in terms of they are mindful because they know kind of like, hurt people. And so it's made this person a little more cautious with how they approach matters of the heart. They don't want to come off as like a scoundrel. They don't want to come off as like a heartbreaker. And so it feels like they've taken sort of the wounding or the lessons maybe that other people around them have experienced in their own kind of personal lives. And this person, it feels like, has really sort of taken that to heart, is like, I'm not going to be that type of person. I'm not going to do somebody wrong in the way that other person did someone wrong. It feels like this is someone that's a very, like, they intend to show up very genuinely for you. But at the same point in time, depending on sort of like where you're at, like if this person approached you first, or they were the one to kind of initiate this connection, it's like you've reached a place where it's sort of like they intend to show you like, I can sort of like share power with you. I'm strong enough, or like self-assured enough, or like secure enough within myself that I don't mind sitting in the passenger seat for a while and letting you drive. I don't mind us sort of switching off in the role in terms of like who's making the effort, who's planning, the dates or the get-togethers, who's sort of like pouring in. And this isn't something where they become emotionally detached, but it's something where they may be sort of like, well, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And it's not even like deflecting all that back onto you, but it's a sense of almost like showing, I care about what you think. I care about what you feel. I care about what your interests are. I don't want you just sort of like succumbing to like interest in me, or like pressure that I might be putting on, or like a level of enthusiasm. It's almost like they may kind of, hold back a little bit as far as like eagerness to progress forward. They're not wanting to sort of, overwhelm you or make you feel like they're love bombing or anything like that. And so there's a sense of kind of like, you tell me where we go next. You tell me what the progression is. And it feels like this is something that is subtle. This isn't like, okay, tell me, like, give me a whole long paragraph about everything you want, everything you need me to do to show up. But it's somebody that may almost just hold space. It's the intention to hold space for you to kind of like lean towards them, for you to lean into this connection in a way that they see that you haven't so far, as almost kind of like, it's like knight in shining armor energy with this Knight of Pentacles, but more in the sense of like, let me be that sort of like safe space, or that consistency, that kind of above board presence, that operator that is, very much like, I'm here. If you need me, I'm kind of like here, I'm standing consistently in my energy or in my efforts. You determine kind of like how we expand from this point forward, because again, there's a sense of almost like trust issues that you may have that they're picking up on, or anticipating, like if people have let you down in the past, or like at this point in connections or getting to know people, if this would be the point inevitably, things would take a turn for the worst. I want to show you that I'm not like those other people by giving you the reins to kind of direct us where we are going in this next phase with one another. So let's get a little bit more as far as their intentions towards you at this time. Okay, and we have Death Mother and the Word. Yeah, so this is somebody that is wanting to kind of allow you to feel in and intuit sort of like, okay, are we ready to close out of this phase that we're in? Just speak the word and we will progress forward in this direction. They're wanting you to take more of a leadership role in this circumstance. This is somebody, it feels like, that is willing to kind of open up emotionally if that's what you need. They're willing to hold space for you if you need that level of sort of like, I'm showing up consistently, even if it's not very exciting, even if things are not progressing forward, so that you soften into this experience of allowing me to then kind of pick us up and move us forward, usher us into the next phase with one another. It feels like this is somebody that is, going to be kind of, it's the intention of sort of like, what do you think? You need to speak life into this circumstance as well. That this is something that they want, they see like an opportunity here to help you move beyond anything that might have been, kind of like heartbreaks of the past from other people. Anything that had been like disappointments in what you'd experienced in circumstances that you'd had romantically with other people. It's sort of like, I can't heal all those wounds for you, but I can help create a different experience where, as you are focusing on kind of things that are new and unique and different, any hurts, any disappointments, anybody that's let you down in the past, you can let that go. You can move out of that grieving stage or out of that place of, you're very guarded as a result of the grief that other people have put you through, that there's a sense of sort of like not wanting to make you uncomfortable or sort of ask or pry or, anything like that as far as the past. But this is somebody who, it's like they're observant enough, they're sensitive enough. And again, they're kind of like, they're basing this on sort of like experiences that people in their life that they care about, that are close to them, like what they've been put through. I'm hearing put through the ringer. And so it's kind of like an experience, like worst of the worst, and even things that were just kind of like unfair, or, weren't very good and positive. This is somebody who's kind of taken a lesson from that. This is somebody that's like, they don't intend to be someone that makes you cry. They don't intend to be somebody who ends up as a lesson or something that you have to heal and evolve from. And in order to kind of see that intention through to a place of like, yeah, that's what I want, but to make sure that's the actual reality at this particular moment in time, it's like you say the word and you determine how fast we move forward at this point. You say the word and you tell me where you want us to go next, and then I will respond to that. I will follow your lead. We will get there, and then I will show you a different kind of love, an empowered strength that then is like, okay, now I'm taking back over. Let me show you how to be loved in that way, or in that territory, or in that kind of like region of experience that is beyond some sort of guardedness, some sort of hesitation that they're picking up on you, from you. Maybe something where you've established like boundaries, and so they're like, okay, I respect that. We'll take things a little bit slower. Or something where, they might even sort of anticipate you're trying to move very quickly, and rather than them saying like, ooh, that's sort of a problem, they're seeing that as something like, maybe that's a result of wounding. Maybe that's a result of like, you've been rejected, or people have only sort of come towards you for what they could take or what they could gain. And so this is somebody like, let me show you a different experience of love. Let me show you something where you're comfortable to like be yourself, or, put forth like your authentic needs, but don't just think that you need to be here to kind of like cater to me or to, please me exclusively. Like, I'm here to please as well. So let's take a look at what you can expect next from them in this connection. Okay, we have synthesis, direction, and philosopher's stone. Yeah, so this is all about that energy of like emotional alchemy. You can expect this person to sort of add in their own wisdom, their own special skill set, their own perspective, their own sort of like beliefs in a very positive sense about love, and kind of like hope for what the connection can be, even as reflective of like wounds that they have had, things that they've been put through, mistakes they have made with other people prior to you, that it's kind of like, okay, let's take this opportunity to try and do things different, to try and do things right. Let's try to make a concerted effort not to just leave more wreckage, more scars within one another, whether we have a long-term future or it's something temporary. Let's try a different approach to this. Again, that energy of direction is really just sort of like, you speak the word and we'll move forward in that direction. You let me know where we progress forward. And it feels like it's very important for this person to kind of give you a leadership role at this time. So you can see they're able to like co-rulers almost with this energy of synthesis. Like, this isn't something where, you know, it's kind of like a power struggle. This is somebody, it feels like, that isn't trying to like operate out of a distorted ego or in a toxic energy. They maybe even sort of pride themselves on the fact that they have tried to work to tame their ego, or, you know, have been aware again of sort of like people close to them, people they care about, that have really been put through the ringer by toxic connections. And there's a sense of like, I don't want to be anything like that. I don't want to do that damage to another person. And so you are experiencing kind of the alchemy of somebody else's heartbreak and woundedness that is manifested in this individual as someone that is really, it feels like a very well-intentioned person in general. It feels like they're very trustworthy in general. They're approaching this situation as kind of like, I come in peace. I come with kind of like everything sort of like apparent. You can ask me anything and I'll be honest with you. I don't have hidden agendas. I don't have hidden motives. And rather than kind of just feeding you empty words or expecting you to kind of believe that at face value, let me show you by giving you the opportunity to kind of take us in the next direction moving forward, so that you see this is, I want like a partnership with you. I want something that is equal give and take, where we both take turns, where there's both that opportunity to be the one that is like more assertive and the one that is more sort of receptive. So it feels like anything as far as like you've gotten sort of a good impression, a good vibe off of this person. That idea of synthesis is some kind of action step that they take that really lets you know, like, yeah, my needs, wants and demands in this situation matter just as much as this person's. It may even be something where it's kind of like something that they wouldn't normally like to do, or something that isn't kind of like, wouldn't necessarily be fun for them, but then they do it for you. They go along for you. They come along. They're a good sport during it. And that kind of is like a demonstration for you of sort of like, okay, this person isn't just here when it suits them or when it's convenient for them, but they're showing up for me and aspects of myself that may be very unrelated to even their own pleasure and joy. And that may be something that's very different from people that you dealt with in the past that are like, they're only around as it's good for them, as the deal benefits them, or the circumstances kind of to their liking. This is something where it's like, I can show you better than I can tell you. And this person, it feels like, is getting ready to show you like, yeah, I'm interested in all of you, flaws and all. And we have now sort of reached a place where I'm anticipating that, you know, in order to get you to let your guard down more and trust in the situation, it's not going to be through force. It's going to be through, I yield to you, you know, kind of do with this connection what you will during this next sort of phase of your experience with one another. So let's get some message cards from their higher self and see what they want you to know. Okay, and we have, I miss the way you look at me. So this person is definitely thinking about you a lot in the time that you are apart from one another or like in between your interactions. There's a sense that they almost, even if you're like a happy or joyous person, they see that there's hurt, there's defensiveness, there's sorrow in your eyes that speaks to something of like heartbreaks from the past. It's almost like they sense that you're trying to move forward in your life. You're open to love, you're open to the experience with them, but somebody or people in your past have hurt you, have disappointed you, have let you down. And so it's almost like this person understands to get you to open your heart to this circumstance further, to have this circumstance be something that helps to kind of erase that experience from sitting so prominently within you emotionally, or that's kind of making you have that level of discernment with people, like new people that you're meeting, or people that you're giving a chance to as far as romance is concerned. They're seeing that it's like, okay, we've reached this place. It is now at this threshold where if I continue to kind of push the situation forward, if I'm in more of that assertive energy, that sorrow or that kind of hurt from the past, it's just going to be a companion. This person's very curious as far as like aspects of you, and an aspect within this connection that's only reachable through transcending that, through kind of building trust. Not just somebody that says you can trust me, but is kind of like, let me show you that I'm trustworthy because I'm giving you that kind of permission. I'm encouraging you to sort of take us in a new direction. I'm placing myself emotionally and actually in your hands, and you sort of determine the course forward, which it feels like in its own way is kind of like a form of this person sort of like giving a gift. Let me help to, diminish some of that sorrow that I see in the back of your eyes, and replace that with more of the joy of the present. They also say you are never afraid of my darkness. So it feels like, unbeknownst to you, you have performed this same function for this person already in your interactions with one another. You have encouraged them that it's safe for them to take off their mask, let their guard down, relax more into the situation. And this is somebody that's like, okay, now it's my turn to do that for you. And so they may even be sort of like, thinking of the ways in which you showed up, maybe not knowing this person had trust issues. Not, this could be like when you first met them, they had their guard up, they took a chance on the situation, but the guard was up. And it's something about the way in which you've showed up, the way in which you've honored and respected them, or also kind of participated with them, that has helped them to sort of move beyond the echoes of the hurts of the past. And so this is a sense of sort of like, you've done this for me and I didn't even tell you that you did that. Now it's my turn to like take the lead in that situation by opening up to you and letting you sort of determine the course forward from us in this next phase. They also say, I miss your scent, your love, and your energy. Yeah, so this person has really good intentions. They like you in a well-rounded sense. There's a lot of things that they like about you, a lot of things that they find pleasing about you. This is somebody that wants to continue to kind of like redefine the nature of your interactions with one another, so that, it's not just sort of like, okay, we have fun, or, it's a very exciting connection, or, it's a very stimulating connection, but it's something where there's also a degree of like safety, of comfort, where the two of you can even just relax, maybe not have to perform so much, in the experience of like getting to know someone new. Or if you sort of hit a wall with certain triggers or certain wounds, there's almost like, okay, let's climb that together. Let's move through this together. Let's have the experience of like, this is what partnership is. It's lifting one another up on good and bad days. It's standing with one another through those challenges. Let's continue to move forward in that direction. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got W, W, A, F, P, L, Z, F, R, H, Y, I, and C. So, those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.